Hi, welcome to Wings for Life. My name is Ann Edenfield-Sweet. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Wings. This is our 26th year, and we are just so excited to be with you here tonight. We have an exceptional speaker, Dr. Gary Sanchez, the founder of the Why Institute. Let me tell you about Gary. He believes that life's most challenging questions become easier when you know your why. He's helped over 50,000 people and over 500 companies, and it's growing every day. And he helps them discover their why so that they can move faster and have a bigger impact. Isn't that what we all want? He will share with you how why power is more powerful than willpower for finding your direction and passion so you can live the life that you've always wanted. And I love a quote that he has here from Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are the day that you were born and the day you find out your why. So isn't that exciting? I can't wait to find out. So let's welcome Dr. Gary Sanchez, the founder of the Why Institute.
Thank you, Ann. I appreciate that. Yeah, today our conversation is going to be about why. Right? Why do you do what you do? I mean, really. Why do you do what you do? And more importantly, sometimes, why don't other people do things the way you want them to do them or the way that you would? And so, everybody talks about this concept of why. Why do we do what we do? Today, I'm going to take you through the process of actually discovering your why. And so, I was recently listening to one of my favorite speakers, a guy by the name of Les Brown. And Les asked these three challenging questions. He said, are you going to pivot? We're in challenging times right now. In fact, I don't know what you're experiencing in your life right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the challenges you're facing. Maybe you're at a place where you want to start a different journey. Maybe things aren't working out the way that you thought they would and you want to go in a different direction. And so I was listening to Les Brown, and he asked these three questions, and it really kind of hit me, and I wanted to pose them to you as well. He said, number one, are you satisfied with life, your life as it is? Are you satisfied with the way that it's going? He asked, is your life giving you what you want? And third thing he asked was, if you had your life over again, could you have done more than you've done right now? And so he was asking me these questions. And I looked at those and I said, yeah, I need to do more than I'm doing now. No, I'm not satisfied with the way my life's going. No, my life isn't giving me everything that I want. And I can imagine a lot of you are feeling the same way. And so as we talk about this concept of why, we'll be able to answer these questions on how to get you on the right path. You see, as Ann just mentioned, Mark Twain says the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So we're going to focus on that second question. I like to take it even a little bit further. I like to say that when you discover your why, you're actually going to discover your superpower. So I want you to imagine Clark Kent sitting here next to me or standing here next to me on the stage. He's mild-mannered and meek. He's got a suit, coat and tie on, and you don't know who this is. In fact, he's actually trying to blend in. You don't know much about him. But when he takes off that jacket and he takes off that shirt and you see that S on his chest, you know he's the man of steel. And you know what his gifts are. And I believe it's the same thing with you. When you discover your why, you're going to see that special thing you have inside. Everybody has it. You're already good enough. You already have that special thing. And when you get to see it and you get to express it, that's when you're going to get to live it. And that's what happens when you discover your why. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, what I've got to share with you, this is for you if you're somebody that wants to get clear. You want to get clear on who are you? Why do you do what you do? You're somebody that wants to stand out. You want to stand out for that special thing that you have. And you're somebody that wants to play bigger, right? You're tired of playing small. You know there's more to you than what you've been showing, but you don't quite know how to do it. And so what I'm going to share with you is different and unique because it's going to be practical. I'm not going to share with you a concept that you can't do anything with. I'm going to share something that's practical that you can do today. You can implement it today. You can have that clarity today. And I'm also going to share something with you that's proven. Like Ann said, I've done this with over 50,000 people. I've done this with over 500 companies. And lastly, it's a process. So what's really cool about having a process is if you follow the process, like a recipe. You have a recipe. You follow the recipe, you get the result. If you follow the process, you'll get the result. I'm going to share with you tonight that process, so all you've got to do is follow along with it. And so I have a big promise for you. I only have about 30 minutes to spend with you. So I'm going to give you all that I have, and hopefully you have a pad of paper and a pen with you so you can take lots of notes. But at the end, I've got one ask of you. One ask. I want you to take one step when we're done. And that one step is going to take you about 5 minutes. And I'm going to give it to you for free. And I'll share that with you as we get to the end. But that one step is going to be the big step for you that's going to propel you in the right direction. And it'll be easy for you to do. And so some of the challenges that maybe you're facing right now, maybe you've heard about this concept of why, and you want to know your why, but you just don't know how to do it. You don't know how to discover your why. Or maybe you've wanted to reignite your passion, find your passion. Maybe you've lost your passion and you just kind of feel beaten down and you want to know, how do I find my passion again? Or maybe you're just struggling with clarity as to who am I and what do I bring? And when you have those feelings, it can lead to fear. Fear of what is my next step? What am I supposed to do next? And what we all really want is we want to be clear on our direction. We want to know for sure that this is the direction I should go with my life. This is what I should do with my life. You want to be able to stand out for those gifts that you have, because we all have that gift, and you want to be recognized for it. That's when it really feels good. And you want to be able to play life to the fullest and in the right lane. In the right lane is so critical. Being in your lane where things are easy, where you just have unlimited energy for it, where you just can't wait to get up and do it every day. And when you have that, that's when your passion comes back. That's when you're excited for what you're doing. I wish I could say that I always had that passion. I wish I could say that I was born knowing my why, but I can tell you that I wasn't. I didn't know my why. When I was in high school, when I was in college, I was trying to figure out, what do I want to do with my life? I didn't know. I just kind of lived by default, wherever I thought I could go. And so I ended up picking dentistry. My dad was a dentist. I thought, I'll be a dentist. Let's see how we like this. So off I went to dental school. That's a picture of me graduating from USC Dental School in 1988. You can see how excited I was. I'm that guy all the way over on the right, if you didn't know, the guy with kind of the mullet. And so I was so excited to get back to New Mexico. I was going to fix every tooth in New Mexico. Nobody was going to have a cavity while I was a dentist. I couldn't wait to get going. And maybe there's times where you felt that way with the jobs that you've had. Maybe you were just so ready to start this new job or start on this new path. You had all this excitement and energy. And so for me, the advice that I was given back then was, if you build a great product, people will come. If you build a beautiful practice, take all the right courses, develop your skills, hire the right team, people will naturally and mysteriously find out about you, and then they'll come see you. And so I spent 20 years doing that. For 20 years, I went to the best of everything I could find, because that's what I was told to do. And I can tell you that just doing a great job was not enough. And I went from that fired up, excited guy to this guy right here. That's a picture of me sitting in my office, looking at my computer screen, at my half-empty schedule, wondering, how could this have happened to me? How could I have put so much time, energy, effort, money, motivation into becoming this premier dentist and not getting the results that I thought I would get? Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever thought that maybe you should have gotten better results? Maybe things should have turned out differently than what they did? When your expectations are not met, when you're let down, when you don't know what to do, where you did what you were told to do and it didn't work out. And that's how I felt. I was so frustrated. I was ready to quit. I said, if this is as good as it gets, I'm out of here. I'm going to quit. Or I'm going to find a better way. And so that's when I heard about this concept of why. I watched Simon Sinek's TED Talk. If you haven't seen this, go to YouTube, watch Simon Sinek's TED Talk on Start With Why. It's awesome. I watched it about 30 times. I read his book. And I said, I know why I do what I do, but I don't know why I do it. So if you're not familiar with this concept, let me explain it to you. It's in the bottom corner there. He says, everybody knows what they do. I'm a dentist. I'm an accountant. Whatever your job is, everybody knows what they do. Some know how they do what they do. And by how we mean, what is that proprietary process that you think makes you different? He says, very few know why they do what they do. And by why we mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? He says, the inspiring people that start with why, then tell you how they do what they do, and lastly, what it is they do that connects to you in a completely different way. People like Steve Jobs and Martin Luther King, this is how they talked. They start with their why, then they tell you how, and then they tell you what. And I said, man, that's the piece that I'm missing. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know why. So I became obsessed with my why. I called Simon. I said, Simon, I need you to help me discover my why. We spent about 8 months together going through and helping me discover my why. And I finally figured out that my why is to find a better way and then share it. To find a better way and then share it. And once I realized that, my life made so much sense to me. I've got lots of patents and products and inventions that are all better ways of doing things. And so I took what I learned from Simon and I applied this to my practice. And my practice went from just getting by to having abundance. It just took off. We went from barely surviving 4 to 6 new patients a month to 35 to 45 new patients a month, and my practice just took off. Most fun, most satisfaction, most passion, most enjoyment. Just loved going to work every day because I was getting that feedback that things were being done the right way. And so the most important thing I learned was that when you know your why, what you do has more impact. What you do has more meaning. What you do has more focus. What you do has more direction when it comes from your why. So I want to show you a little video that will kind of bring this home so you can see this. Let me play this for you, and let's see what you see.
The series is called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know, the next thing they say is what? How do I know what? The key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, can you sing? And then I'm just gonna show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid, I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I see.
So here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
So what did you see there? Let me ask you, so what did you see there? Let me ask you a question. The first time he sang, was it bad? No, it wasn't bad. First time he sang was really good. But the second time he sang, it was better. It had more impact. It had more meaning. It had more focus, had more direction. Did you see the audience? You know, they given him some of these. Wouldn't it be nice if you had that? You got that every time you walked into the room, right? But here's the most important point. Same song, same singer, different impact, different perspective. One was from the perspective of his what, and one was from the perspective of his why. And so what I got, what you saw there is that he was able to transform from being a good singer to a great singer. He went from good to great. And so I got to, once I started, my practice took off, I started helping other dentists do what I did. And then I started helping other lawyers and chiropractors and financial groups and bigger companies started coming to me to help them get clear on why they do what they do so that then they could attract the right people to them. And so I saw them go through this transformation of talking about what they do to talking about why they do it. And so, you know, transformation isn't about trying to be somebody you want to be. Transformation is about you knowing you, because you're already good enough. You already have that special thing inside you. You just need to know what it is so that you can use it in your life. And that happens when you discover your why. So what I want to do is I want to share with you the 3 big strategies that we use when we're working with people, when we're working with companies to help them discover and then live their why. So these are the 3 big strategies. Write these down. The first one is your why is the essential first step. Your why is the essential first step. When you're embarking on any journey, when you're trying to figure yourself out, when you're trying to figure out what direction to go, when you're wondering where to find your passion, that first step is discovering your why. And so one of the things that we do is we talk to people about how clear they are right now. And so we use this clarity framework. So you can see that on your screen. On the left side, we've got energy. How much energy do you have? Low to high. And on the bottom, we talk about what is your focus. Is your focus on what you're doing, or is your focus on why you're doing it? And so we say that when your focus is on your why you do what you do, but you're not getting much traction, you're not getting much results, you don't have much energy for what you're doing, we call that just being very frustrated. You're very frustrated. And when your focus is on what you're doing and you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of things coming your way, you have a lot of results, you got a lot of activity, we say that you're just in overwhelm. You're overwhelmed with all the stuff coming your way, but it doesn't meet your why. And when you're focused on your what, and you're not getting much results, and you don't have much energy, and you're in that bottom left quadrant, we say you're just in survival. You're just surviving. But when your focus is on your why, and you're getting the results that you want, and you have a lot of energy, and you're in your lane, and things are going your way, we say you're in your sweet spot, right? You're in your sweet spot. And that's where you want to play. That's where you want to be. That's when you have unlimited energy. That's when you're ready to go day and night. That's when it's fun. And so my question for you is, what will it take for you to get into your sweet spot? What will it take for you to get into your sweet spot? Is it discovering your why? I want us to make a decision right now that you will find your sweet spot and you will live into your sweet spot. And so how that happens is when you discover your why. Now, we believe that there are 9 whys and that everybody has one. And so if we were live, if we were in the room together, or if we had more time, I would take you through right now discovering your why. I would take you over. So I started helping people discover their why. And I did this so many times all over the world. I did this thousands of times, helping people discover their why, that I started to notice patterns and trends and similarities. And I figured out that there's only 9 different whys. And then I was able to take those 9 whys and create the why discovery, which you guys are going to get to use, so that you can now discover your why in about 5 minutes. There's 1,500 possible question options. You're only going to have to answer about 10 questions to discover your why. And so here is the link. I want you to write this down. Go to whyinstitute.com, click on the button that says I need to discover my why, and when you do, you can use the code WINGS, W-I-N-G-S. You can use the code WINGS, and you can take the why discovery for free. So you'll be able to do this after our presentation right now. Normally, if you were here or we were working together, we would do it at this moment, but since we don't have time, you'll get to do it afterwards. Once you've discovered your why, what's really cool is you're going to start getting podcasts from me. I've interviewed lots of people that have your why. And so you're going to get podcasts from me with people that have your why, so you can see how your why has played out in their life, so you can see how it can play out in your life. And I can tell you that not everybody has had this perfect trajectory like this with their life. In fact, most people have gone like this first to get to here. And you're going to hear their story, and you're going to see how they were able to overcome the challenges that they're facing, so you can see how to overcome the challenges that you're facing, because they think the same way that you do. So you'll start getting those right after you discover your why. So these are the 9 whys. Let me share with you the 9 whys. The first why, so write these down. The first why is contribute. To contribute to a greater cause, add value, have an impact in the lives of others. These are people that want to help. They don't have to be the thing, they don't have to be the focus, but they want to be part of it. They use their time, their money, their energy, their connections to push other people forward. The why of contribute. The second why is trust. To create relationships based upon trust. To be the trusted source. To be the one that others can count on. If you can trust them and they can trust you, the sky's the limit. There's nothing you can't do. But if you break their trust, that's a very important thing not to do. The third why is make sense. To make sense of the complex and challenging. These are people that are great problem solvers. You can pretty much dump all your problems onto them. They'll quickly synthesize it down to that thing that's keeping you stuck so you can understand it and move through it so you can move forward. So these are people that are great at helping you move forward by helping you solve your problems. The fourth why is better way, which is my why and Ann's why. These are people that are great at taking something that's already there, a situation that's already going on, and making it better, improving upon it, finding ways to do it better, always asking the question, how can we improve this? The fifth why is right way. Right way, to do things the right way in order to get results. These are structure, process, systems people. These are people that find things that are working and they stick to it. They follow the rules. They do it the way it's supposed to be done. The sixth why is challenge, to challenge the status quo and think differently. These are people that think outside the box. They imagine extraordinary. They do it their own way. They always ask the question, who says? Why not? Why do we have to do it that way? Why do we have to follow the rules? People like Steve Jobs and Herb Kelleher and Richard Branson that think outside the box have this why. The seventh why is mastery. To seek mastery and understanding. These are people that like depth and breadth and detail. They take the simple and make it complex by going very deep. There's somebody that, for you and I, it's 3 steps to cook a scrambled egg. For them, it's 28 steps because they know everything about every step. The eighth why is clarify. To clarify, to create clarity or make things clear. These are people that if it's not crystal clear, if we're not on the same page, if we're not understanding each other, they stay up on the fence until they're crystal clear, and then they move, and then they make a decision. They're great at making sure that communication is very clear and understood. But once they're clear, then they're ready to take off. And the last why is simplify. To simplify. These are people that take the complex and make it simple, break it down to its simplest form. Because when it's simple, then it's easy to understand and we can all do something with it. So those are the 9 whys. When you go through and discover your why, you're going to have one of those as your 9 why. So the question I have for you is, imagine what your life would feel like if you focused on your why first. If you thought about why you do what you do first, not what it is you want to do, why you do it first, and then what you do will have more impact, like we saw with the singer. When it came from his why, that's when he had more focus, direction, passion. And the same thing can apply for you. And so, to make a greater impact, we must focus on our why first. So that's the decision we need to make. Let's make that decision together. To make a greater impact, we must focus on our why first. Okay, so that was the first strategy. Your why is the essential first step. Okay, the second big strategy is when the question is how, the answer is your why. When the question is how, the answer is your why. So what do I mean by that? If the question is, how do I find my passion? How do I know what direction to go with my life? How do I pick a career? How do I know where I fit? Or more importantly, where I don't fit? How do I build my branding, my messaging for my business? When the question is how, the answer is your why. So when it's, how do I find my passion? Parents always tell their kids, go find your passion, go live your passion, go be passionate, right? That sounds great, but how do you do it? Well, if what you do is in line with why you do what you do, you will have passion for what you do. Let me say that again. When what you do is in line with why you do what you do, you will have passion for what you do. So take me, for example. Put me in a place where I can show people a better way to understand themselves by discovering their why. Do you think I'll have passion for that? Do you think I did it for thousands and thousands of people for free? I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't turn it off. Anne, the same thing for Anne. Wings for Life. It's about finding a better way to help people re-engage in the community. She does it. She has a passion for this, right? You can't stop. It's living your passion is living your why. How do I know what direction to go? If you go in the direction where you're going to get to live your why, you will love it. How do I know what career to pick? If your career allows you to get noticed, get valued, get appreciated for your why, that's the right career for you. How do I know where I fit? Well, if people value you and appreciate you for your why, that's where you fit, and that's where you don't fit if they don't value you. So once you know your why, you'll be able to figure that out real easy. The answers to your question become so much easier when you know your why. And the last one was, how do I develop my business message? Let's say you've already got a business. Let's say you're already doing something, but you want to get you want your business to get bigger. You want to attract more of the right people to you. Well, when you base your message from your why, that's when it becomes real. That's when it becomes authentic. Let me give you an example. Steve Jobs, his why is to challenge the status quo and think differently. What do you think? What is the tagline for Apple? Think different. Where do you think it came from? It came from Steve Jobs. The same thing applies to you. Your message for your business or whatever you're doing is going to come directly from your why. So when the question is how, the answer is your why. Okay, so that's the second. The first big strategy was your why is the essential first step. The second one is when the question is how, the answer is your why. Now, the third big strategy is you've got to apply your why in the right sequence. Apply your why in the right sequence. So write that down. What do I mean? If you were baking that cake, or you were putting that barbecue together, does it matter what sequence you use to put the ingredients in or to put the parts together? I remember when I was building a barbecue probably 25 years ago, when we used to have to put them together, and at the end I had a bag of parts left over. And I thought, what's not going to work? Right? What's going to fall apart because I have all these parts still here? So it matters what sequence you put the ingredients in or what sequence you put things together to get the right result. So it's the application of information in the right sequence that yields the right results. So this is the right sequence. Step 1 is your why. Step 2 is your how you bring your why to life. And step 3 is your what you bring. Now let me explain why this is so important. So step 1 is your why, step 2 is your how, step 3 is your what. I want to talk to you for a minute about brain biology. I know you're probably thinking, I don't know anything about the brain, I don't even want to know about the brain, but I'm going to make it really simple, really easy for you to understand. I'm going to talk to you about 2 parts of the brain. So on your piece of paper, draw a big circle and then draw a little or smaller circle in the middle. It'll be the 2 parts of the brain. The outer part of the brain is called the neocortex. So write neocortex there. And then the inner part of the brain, so the inner part of the brain is called the limbic brain. Limbic brain. So write that down. The neocortex is responsible for rational and analytical thought and language. What that means is that the neocortex understands lots of data. Facts, figures, features are all understood at the level of the neocortex, the outer part of the brain. So you could tell somebody all the facts, figures, and features of your what you're doing or your job or something you want to sell them, and they'll look at you and they'll say, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but let me think about it. Let me think about it. Because the neocortex doesn't drive behavior. No decisions are made at the level of the neocortex. The limbic brain is responsible for feelings like loyalty and trust. Decision-making happens at the level of the limbic brain. So how many of you have ever bought something you didn't need? Right? Yes, all of us, right? Why did you do that? Because it felt right, right? You were in the store, I had to buy, it just felt right. I just bought a new truck. I don't need a new truck. I'll probably never put anything in the back of my truck, but I bought the truck because I was driving it when I needed another car, And it felt right. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy this truck. Doesn't make any sense, but I bought it anyways. And then once you buy it, that's when you start to justify it with the neocortex, the facts, figures, and features. So you buy things because they feel right, and then you justify it with the facts, figures, and features. So you buy things because it connects to the limbic brain, you justify them in the neocortex. Does this make sense? So, when you want someone to hire you, when you want someone to buy your product, buy your service, join your cause, you have to first connect to them at the level of the limbic brain and then justify it with the neocortex. Now, how you do that is by starting with your why. So you start with your why, and then you tell them the how and what, and that's how you get someone to make a decision. And that's why it's so important to start with your why, then your how, and then your what. So you've got to apply it in the right sequence. Let me give you another example. Let's say you're going to write your resume. You're going to put out your resume. You want to get a job. You create your resume, and you do it the same way everybody else does right now. I look at lots of resumes. And basically what I see is a list of, this is what I did, and this is when I did it. What do you think about me? And you leave it up to me to try to figure out who you are. But what if you started your resume with your why? You start with your why, your how, and your what, and then everything else is proof of what it is you believe. That is an example of my daughter's resume. When she applies for a job, she always gets it because that resume stands out. It talks about her why. So she says, I believe that success and progress happen when I find a better way. How I do that is by making sense out of the complex and challenging. And what I bring is a way to contribute, add value, and have an impact in the lives of others. Then she lists what she's done, and that's how she stands out. Then what she's done is proof of what she believes. So if you're going to write your resume, start with your why, how, and what, and then the rest will be proof of what you believe, and you'll stand out, and you'll get that job. Does this make sense? So let's make a decision today to apply your why in the right sequence. Let's apply your why in the right sequence. Okay, so the three strategies were, your why is the essential first step. Number two, when the question is how, the answer is your why. And number three, you've got to apply your why in the right sequence. Okay? So the real question is, will you use willpower or will you use why power to make that big change in your life, to get on the right direction, to get going in the right direction, to find your passion? Are you going to use willpower or why power? Are you going to just like gut it out and push through and hope you end up in the right place? Or are you going to use your why and know that you're going in the right direction? Have the confidence that you're moving towards your passion. Willpower versus why power. So what's your next step? The next step that I want you to take is I want you to start your journey tonight. And I want you to start your journey because I'm going to give you the why discovery for free. It's on the screen right there. Just go to whyinstitute.com and type in WINGS for the code, and you'll get to take it for free. That's your next step. Start there. There will be other steps that you can take to get your how and your what if you want to. But for now, let's at least help you discover your why so you can move in the right direction with speed and with purpose and with passion. I want you to imagine it's now 3 days. You've discovered your why. And it's 3 days later. And it's really starting to feel good. You're really starting to understand the gift that you have. A lot of the other stuff is starting to fade away, and you're seeing your gift come forward. And I want you to imagine 3 weeks from now, people are starting to notice. Maybe you walk a little bit differently. Maybe you talk a little bit differently. Maybe you hold yourself a little bit differently because you have that confidence. You know what your gift is. And maybe 3 months from now, you're headed in the right direction. The right people are stepping forward to help you move forward. They understand your gift. They see that gift that you have, and they want to help you. And you'll look back on today, and you'll look back on tonight with gratitude, and you'll say, man, I am so glad I was there. And I'm so glad I discovered my why. And I'm so glad I started moving in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wasn't he fantastic? I knew he would be. Thank you so much, Gary. That was just awesome. And I do my why. That's why, a better way. And I found my sweet spot. I found that 26 years ago. And that's what gives me the passion and the drive. And that's why we do Wings for Life. And that's why we're trying to help you and everybody that we know to make a difference in their life and just have life be the best it possibly could be. And I always close with a story. So here's our story tonight. It's called Confidence. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win, but think you can't, it's almost certain that you won't. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger woman or man, but sooner or later, those who win are those who think they can. And we want you all to be winners. We want you to have that confidence. We want you to go forth and find your why. So thanks for joining us tonight. Now, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, this will be the end of your program. If you're with us tonight with Zoom, hang on, because in a few seconds, we're going to go to the breakout rooms, and we're going to talk about what we learned from Gary. So thanks for being with us tonight, and hope to see you next week. Blessings, everybody. Bye-bye.